Imagine, if you will, a land steeped in ancient narratives. A junction of civilizations where the echoes of historical claims clash poignantly with contemporary aspirations and grim realities. This is no fictional place, but the fraught, geographical, and psychological landscape of the Israel-Palestine conflict. It is here that history spills sorrowfully into the present, nurturing an environment fraught with perpetual tension, piercing human drama, and a persistently elusive horizon of peace. This discussion is not merely academic, it ripples through the corridors of power, across bustling marketplaces, and within quiet homes around the world, touching nerves, shaping policies, and molding generations. Here, every stone, every scar tells a story, and every narrative is dueling with others for prominence and survival. This essay seeks to explore these stories, to map out the origination, to trace the trajectories, and to ponder the foreseeable future of one of the most enduring and complex conflicts of our times. Historical context, ancient claims, and modern realities. The history of the Israel-Palestine area is one deeply etched with ancient claims that span millennia, back to the times of biblical patriarchs and dynastic pharaohs. The historic land, known variously as Canaan, Judea, and later Palestine, has been a crucible of cultural, religious, and ethnic identities. Archaeological and historical findings reveal a complex tapestry of civilizations that have claimed this land as their own. The Jews have historical ties dating back to the kingdoms of Israel and Judah, whereas Islamic ties were established later with the conquests that spread the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. Understanding these historic claims is crucial in grasping the modern-day sensitivities that surround the Israel-Palestine conflict. The mythology and histories of these lands are not merely academic, but are intrinsic to the identities of the people who currently inhabit the region. The birth of Israel and the Palestinian Nakba. Post-World War II, the landscape of international politics was dramatically altered. The United Nations proposed a partition plan in 1947 to resolve the Arab-Jewish tensions in British Mandatory Palestine. The plan led to the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. A joyous moment for Jews worldwide, but simultaneously a period of profound sorrow and displacement for Palestinians, widely known as the Nakba, or catastrophe. This period also saw a massive influx of Jewish immigrants into the new State of Israel, many of them survivors of the Holocaust, seeking refuge and a new beginning in what they saw as their ancestral homeland. The joy of their homecoming contrasted sharply with the Palestinian displacement and loss. It is during this tumultuous time that the foundational dynamics of the current Israel-Palestine conflict were established. The seeds of the 1948 conflict have germinated into a complex array of issues that challenge peacemakers to this day. Wars and watersheds. Key conflicts and their impacts. The Israel-Palestine conflict has been punctuated by several key wars which have reshaped the geopolitics of the region each time. Starting with the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, followed by the 1967 Six-Day War and the 1973 Yom Kippur War, each conflict has altered the demarcations of control and influence in the region. The 1967 Six-Day War, particularly, was a pivotal moment as it led to the capture of the West Bank and Gaza Strip by Israel, thus beginning the military occupation that continues to be a central issue in the conflict. These wars have not only changed physical boundaries, but also left deep psychological scarring on both sides, hardening positions and sowing mistrust. Each war added layers to the conflict, deepening the rift between Israelis and Palestinians, while international interventions often resulted in temporary ceasefires rather than comprehensive peace. One of the most contentious questions in the Israel-Palestine debate concerns the status of Palestine before the establishment of Israel. Historically, the area known as Palestine was part of the Ottoman Empire and, following World War I, came under British mandate. It was never formally recognized as an independent state in the international legal sense during these periods. The term Palestine has been used historically to refer to a geographical area, but the conception of a Palestinian national identity has evolved, particularly in the 20th century, amidst the growing Zionist movement. The declaration of the State of Israel in 1948 was a significant trigger in the crystallization of Palestinian identity and nationalist aspirations. This backdrop is essential for understanding the claims to statehood and sovereignty that are central to the conflict. The lack of formal state status for Palestine prior to 1948 complicates discussions of legitimacy and rights under international law. Israeli settlements in the occupied territories, including the West Bank and East Jerusalem, have been a significant and contentious issue in the conflict. These settlements are considered illegal under international law, particularly the Fourth Geneva Convention, which prohibits an occupying power from transferring its own civilian population into the territory it occupies. The international community, including the United Nations and the European Union, has repeatedly condemned these settlements as obstacles to peace. Despite this, the expansion of these settlements continues, complicating the peace process and diminishing hopes for a two-state solution. The settlements not only represent a legal controversy, but also a profound humanitarian and ethical issue, as they often lead to displacement of Palestinian populations and an escalation in regional tensions. The geopolitical importance of Israel and Palestine has attracted the attention and intervention of major global powers, each with its strategic interests and political agendas. The United States has been a long-standing ally of Israel, providing substantial military and economic support. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union supported various Arab regimes and movements, including Palestinians, as a counterbalance to American influence in the Middle East. In recent decades, the European Union has tried to play a more balanced role, advocating for dialogue and a negotiated two-state solution. Russia, succeeding the Soviet Union, has maintained its interest in the region, often supporting Arab states in diplomatic forums. The involvement of these powers has sometimes helped to manage immediate crises, but has also added layers of complexity to peace negotiations, as each power often brings its own set of interests and biases to the table. Jerusalem stands as a poignant symbol of the Israel-Palestine conflict, a city sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims, and claimed by both Israelis and Palestinians as their capital. The status of Jerusalem remains one of the thorniest issues in peace negotiations, with profound religious, national, and historical significances clashing. The eastern part of Jerusalem was annexed by Israel following the 1967 Six-Day War, a move not recognized internationally. The city embodies the broader conflict, hosting sites of deep religious significance such as the Western Wall, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The division of Jerusalem not only reflects a physical and political divide, but also underscores the deep-seated emotional and spiritual stakes involved. The city's future is pivotal in any peace negotiations, with solutions ranging from international governance to divided sovereignty being proposed and debated. The Israel-Palestine conflict has wrought significant socio-economic consequences on the populations of both sides, although the impact varies considerably. Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza Strip often face severe restrictions on movement, employment, and access to resources due to Israeli security policies and blockades, exacerbating poverty and hindrance to economic development. Conversely, Israelis suffer from the constant threat of violence, which affects their security policies and economic decisions. Economic costs are also incurred due to military expenditures and the need to secure borders and settlements. The disparities in economic conditions between Israelis and Palestinians are stark and feed into the continuous cycle of resentment and conflict. Understanding these socioeconomic dimensions is crucial for addressing the humanitarian needs and for building a sustainable peace framework. The narrative of the Israel-Palestine conflict is heavily influenced by its portrayal in the media, which varies significantly around the world. Media outlets play a crucial role in shaping public opinion and, by extension, influencing political and diplomatic responses to the conflict. Western media often face criticism for either a pro-Israeli bias or, conversely, for an overly sympathetic portrayal of the Palestinians. In the Middle East, media portrayal tends to be sharply polarized, generally reflecting the prevailing political and ideological leanings of the region. The role of emerging digital media and social platforms has also transformed the landscape, enabling grassroots narratives and counter-narratives to reach a global audience, complicating the media dynamics and the public perception of the conflict. Efforts to resolve the Israel-Palestine conflict have been numerous, involving a range of international actors and complex negotiations. Notable among these efforts were the 1978 Camp David Accords, the 1993 Oslo Accords, and the 2000 Camp David Summit. Each of these initiatives sought to lay down a framework for peace but ultimately failed to achieve a lasting resolution. These peace attempts have typically involved thorny issues such as the status of Jerusalem, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, the borders of Israel and a potential Palestinian state, and the cessation of violence. The failure of these peace processes reflects the deep-seated mistrust and the complex web of issues that need to be untangled. Learning from past failures and successes is essential for future peace negotiations, requiring innovative approaches and possibly a rethinking of traditional frameworks and solutions. The path to peace in the Israel-Palestine conflict is fraught with challenges, but not devoid of hope. Various scenarios and solutions have been proposed, ranging from a two-state solution, which envisages an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel, to more radical proposals like a single binational state or confederational models. Each solution carries its own set of challenges and implications. The two-state solution, widely supported internationally, faces obstacles in terms of settlement expansions and political divisions within Palestinian factions. Alternatively, the one-state solution raises significant questions about the nature of the state's identity and the rights of its citizens. A sustainable solution would likely need to address the core issues of borders, security, refugees, and the status of Jerusalem, with a strong emphasis on mutual recognition and respect for sovereignty and human rights. As we analyze the history and contemplate the future of the Israel-Palestine conflict, several key lessons emerge. The importance of acknowledging historical grievances and security needs, the role of international mediation, and the impact of internal political dynamics are all critical. The path forward requires courage, creativity, and a commitment to dialogue from all parties involved, including the international community. Sustainable peace will necessitate not only political agreements but also grassroots reconciliation efforts, educational reforms, and economic cooperation to heal the deep wounds inflicted over decades. Understanding the lessons of the past and actively working towards a future where coexistence and peace are possible is the solemn duty of all who yearn for a resolution to one of the most enduring conflicts of our times. The path is undoubtedly complex, but the pursuit of peace is undeniably worth every effort. This essay has endeavored to navigate the intricate and often heart-rending realities of the Israel-Palestine conflict. It is hoped that by understanding more deeply, we can move closer to a future where justice, peace, and prosperity prevail for all involved. Imagine, if you will, a land steeped in ancient narratives, a junction of civilizations where the echoes of historical claims clash poignantly with contemporary aspirations and grim realities.